Hello guys, welcome to Web Scraping Kung Fu series, and today we're gonna scrape multiple elements from the single page. So I entered the chamber number 2, and here already instead of the only movie, we have already up to 50 movies over here. So our task in this particular chamber is to scrape the elements for each single entry here for each single element. So let's actually start writing some code. First, we need to import a couple of libraries like requests to make HTTP GET request to the given URL, and also BeautifulSoup to parse the content. So I say from PS4 import BeautifulSoup. Well, we will also need JSON to print the extracted data, and the CSV to store the data to the CSV file. That's pretty important as well. And now let's write a class called element scraper. Elements scraper, and define several methods here. So the first one would be fetch. That would be used for fetching the URL basically and returning the HTTP response. So takes the URL as a parameter here. Let's pause for now. Then the parse method that would deal with the response HTML. And then we will need the toCSV method to actually store the response into the CSV file. And do we need to provide a file name? Well, probably we don't. Okay, so and the run method to actually start the scraper. Okay, now I'll make a driver here, so I say if name is equal to main, we create the scraper instance, and this would be the element scraper, and we want to run it, so I say just scraper.run like this. Okay, let's actually test this at the moment. So I say Python 3 chamber number 2 dot py. Okay, BeautifulSoup is a bit misspelled here. Okay, so now it runs correctly. So the very first thing to consider is actually to make the HTTP GET requests, and for that reason we need just to return the requests.get and the URL. So and here in the run we want to create the response object, which is equal to self.fetch, and here we're going to provide the URL that we're supposed to scrape data from, and this time the URL references to chamber number 2. Okay, and also we need to pass the text of this particular response to the parse function, so we could have parsed the response later on. So I say self.parse response.text. So remember that requests library response object, HTTP response object, has a text attribute. It has lots of interesting attributes as well, like status code, various headers, and so on, but that would be covered in the later videos on this series. Okay, so the very last thing to test now is whether the we're actually getting the desired HTML response here. Okay. Did I save? Dev parse. Well, this seems to be a little bit strange. Okay. Oh, I didn't call run correctly. Okay. So, yeah, now we have the response. Okay. So now it's time to actually parse the content. So I create the content variable equal to BeautifulSoup and pass the HTML element itself to parse, and also specify the parser, which is called LXML, like this. And now it's time to start extracting some data. So we would need title, gender, country, year, directory, starring, and the URL link. And what's going to be different from the chamber number 1 here is that in the first chamber, let me just spend a couple of minutes explaining this. Okay. The first chamber, the classes, items didn't really have the corresponding classes, and the idea of the first chamber was actually to extract data from kind of badly formatted, poorly formatted page like this one. So this was created without any specific class names over here, so it's not that easy to extract that, but that was the topic of the very first chamber, and of that exercise to extract data from the sources that are not really well formatted. Well, but in the second two chambers, the chamber number 2 and number 3, I don't really want to spend much time on data extraction because they're not really kind of dedicated to the data extraction itself, but rather to scraping multiple items and scraping multiple elements, and also scraping multiple elements from multiple pages. So that's the reason why we want to make the data extraction part as short as possible, because we want to focus not on the data extraction on these chambers, yeah, but we want to focus on scraping multiple elements, and then to scraping multiple elements from multiple pages. So that's the reason actually why I've created okay, we don't really need the source, no, just would be enough to inspect the element here. So that's why I created the classes to kind of easily extract all the titles and all the other items, so just not wasting our time. So here I'm going to extract them one by one, and well, this would be fairly easy compared to the first chamber, but I just want you to understand the reason why I did implement the chamber number 2 and 3 in that sort of manner. So the title is tags drawn with the class movie title, and just let's try to find all of them. So I say title equals content dot find all. We want the strong tag and the class called movie title. Well, actually, this kind of sort of CSS class is a fake. It doesn't really change the appearance of the entries, so this is just made for scraping purposes, just to make life a little bit easier. So, well, I hope that the reason why am I doing this is pretty clear at the moment. So let's print actually well, so it won't be the title, it would be the titles in the plural. Okay, so let's try the titles and also the length of the titles to make sure that there are exactly 50 titles. So I know that there are 50 titles. Okay, yeah, 50 titles, that's okay. Now we want to get rid of the strong tag itself, so in order to do this, we don't really need this length anymore. So in order to do that, we actually need to use what is known as a list comprehension, which is a short form of a for loop in Python. So we want to extract the title.text for title in, go and then find all titles, like that. So let's actually run the script again, and here we see only the titles without those tags. Okay, so the next thing to extract is a genre, and let's inspect this element as well. This one to be exact. Inspect. So this is the span of class movie genre, and this the country is the class of movie country, and well, I just know that because I just named them like that a couple of minutes ago before ever recording this video. So this would be movie genre, movie country, movie year, movie director, and this would be probably a movie poster. I'm not sure, but let's just quickly check this out. So movie poster, right? So let's quickly extract all of that stuff here. So, well, what I can do actually here, I can just copy the title line. Okay, so this would be the genre, and copy genre, find all, and this would be span. Okay, so those are the spans actually, and class movie. Okay, movie genre, and then it goes the country, year, director, and starring. So country, year, director, and starring, and the last one would be poster. So the posters would be actually the image, like this. So now copy, okay, country, movie country, okay, year, span class, movie year, director, oops, movie director, starring, okay, and the poster. Okay, I hope I did everything correctly. Let's just create the item variable of the type of the Python dictionary here, and well, okay, so I need to do this actually in the loop. So, well, okay. So the next thing to consider is just to look over the indexes of the number of elements here. So there has to be kind of 50 titles, genre, country, year, director. Well, let's actually quickly check that out, so to make sure that I did copy paste everything correctly. So let's bring the length of titles, just copy this, and the genre, and the country. So, well, actually, my god, this has to be in plural. Okay, countries. Countries going to end up with a bug for sure. Countries, okay. This is years. Well, from the programming perspective, it doesn't really matter that much, but from the logic and general kind of human perspective, this really kind of matters. So I should have changed this, the variable names to plural. Okay, so countries, and then years, Okay, so then directors and starring and finally posters. So, and I hold my breath and run this stuff. Okay, staring is not defined. Starings in plural. Okay. Hope to have 50 staring. Oh, come on. Still. Oh. Starings. What it doesn't like here. Well, every time I want to make things faster, it actually happens slower. Okay. Finally, I have the 50, 50, 50. That means that the length of all of these elements is equal to 50, which is the right number of entire elements. So that's kind of it. Okay. Now we can actually loop over the indexes of the length of any kind of this variables here. So say for index in range of from 0 to length of, well, say titles. Basically here you can take the length of whatever elements because they're fairly equal. So, and now let's create the item variable of the Python dictionary type, and here we'll actually print the title and titles index, and then the genre. Okay, well, just copy paste that in a moment. So genre, country, and year, and director, and starring, and poster finally, like this. So well, we need only the index part. Okay, so genres should be in plural as well. Okay, so here we have the genres, the countries, years, directors, and starings, and posters. Okay, let's print this item in a pretty format. So in order to do that, I use the JSON dumps function, JSON.dumps, which converts the Python dictionary into the JSON string. And here I pass item as an argument. I also want to specify the indentation equal to 2 spaces, just to pretty print stuff. Okay. So here is our data extracted from the multiple elements on the single page, the chamber number 2. So we have the title, well, seems like okay, genre, martial arts, okay, country, Hong Kong, well, it's not really the country, but still that's what's supposed to be there, so that's just fine, the year, and the director, and starring, and, well, the poster isn't actually extracted. Okay, that's because, okay, that's because something has went wrong. So oh, okay, probably maybe it's not very okay. Hold on a sec, guys. This is really interesting. So let me just quickly check what's going wrong with the posters. So print posters. Just want to make clear if they has been extracted or not. Okay, they were not extracted, so oh, okay, that's because we don't need the text, but we actually need the attribute that is called source. So text, well, actually image tag doesn't really contain any text in it. That's pretty clear. So this time we have a list of URLs corresponding to referencing the particular images. Okay, so that's the reason. So if you just try to print these elements again, I hope to see the poster links. Okay, so now the poster links are available here. So, well, this is kind of it regarding the data extraction. And now the very last thing kind of left here is actually we want to store the data into the CSV file. But before ever doing that, actually we need to create some results list, so-called results, and this would be the elements scraper inner field there, inner attribute. So now we don't actually want to bring this anymore, or well, let's just get rid of this. Not really need that much. So, and the only thing we want to do is actually we don't really ever need to define this item variable. We can say simply that self.results.append, and we can append this dictionary directly to the results. So, and now what actually we can do is just to store the results list to CSV file. So in order to do that, I say with open movies.csv. We want to write the file stream as CSV file here, and now we need to create a writer which is called csv.dictWriter. So the reason for creating that sort of writer is just because we have the list of dictionaries, so we would be writing those dictionaries to the CSV file. So dictWriter, and it takes two arguments. The first is the CSV file stream itself, and also we need to specify the field names. So field names equal to, and here we want to take the very first element, so say self results, and no, I don't want the keys. So to use the keys actually as the field names, the column names, the headers, like that. So the keys, and also we want say writer dot right here to provide column names to the CSV file, and then we need simply to loop over the rows row in self results. So we need to loop over the list of results that we've just created, and here we say simply writer dot right row and the row like this. Okay, so let's run the script one more time. Okay, well, nothing, it didn't save because I just didn't really call that function yet. So I say self dot do CSV. Okay, now this movies.csv file has appeared. Okay, but this is empty. Okay, let's see what's kind of wrong here. It didn't even write a header. Oh, because not the self results, but self results the very first element like this. Okay. Well, still probably won't be much. Okay, now it prints everything correctly. Okay, so let's also check this out in the LibreOffice to make sure the data looks exactly as we are expecting it to look like. So okay, so titles. So here it must be up to 50. Well, 51 for the first is the title itself. Column name, okay. Genre is fine. Country is okay. Year, director, and starring team. Okay, guys. So this is it for this chamber and for this video as well. So we have successfully extracted multiple elements from the single page. This remember, this was the chamber number 2 exercise, the second exercise in the 36 chambers of web scraping site that I've created for you guys to practice your Kung Fu, not Kung Fu skills, to practice your web scraping skills. Yeah, you know, the scraping your Kung Fu skills, you should have made some forms, some tablets, not web scraping. Okay, so until the next chamber, next video, and take care.